and welcome. This is the Tax Talk, where we focus on helping you understand issues pertaining to tax administration in Nigeria in general and Lagos State specifically. I am Oyinlola Sally.
This is Business News. The Lagos Rail Mass Transit Blue Line system began its long-awaited commercial operations on Monday, September 4, 2023. The Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who wore a Lamata uniform and blue tie, became the first passenger to ride on the train. The governor, with other government officials, boarded the train from the Marina terminal by 9 a.m. The train, which conveyed other excited passengers, including journalists, passed through Marina to Igomo and Alaba before arriving at Maitu. Abimbola Akinajo, the managing director of the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, Lamata, said the train will run only 12 trips with the locomotive system for the first month. However, Lamata will begin the electric-powered train operation with 76 trips, an estimated passenger capacity between 150,000 and 175,000 are expected to take rides from 5:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. daily. The train service will operate in the morning between 6:30, 7:36 and 8:42 a.m. and in the evening phases with ongoing tests during the day to ensure the trains are in proper condition. Lagos has emerged as the fifth best African city with high desirability by people to live, work and invest, according to a report by Brand Finance City Index 2023. The survey puts Lagos at 56.7% behind Cape Town, South Africa, Cairo, Egypt, Johannesburg, South Africa, and Casablanca, Morocco as the first four best African cities with 62.9, 60.7, 59.7, and 59.3% respectively. Nairobi, the capital of Kenya, also made the chart by coming behind Nigeria as the sixth African city with 55.1%. Cape Town, Cairo, Johannesburg, Casablanca, Lagos, and Nairobi were the only six African countries that appeared on the 100 world's best cities as numbers 60, 67, 72, 76, 90, and 94 respectively on global rankings. The ranking is based on a global survey of close to 15,000 members of a poll conducted in April 2023 in 20 countries on all continents to measure perceptions of the world's top 100 cities, the report reveals. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has flagged up the distribution of various palliative items targeted to reach at least 500,000 vulnerable residents. The measure is geared towards cushioning the effect of the fuel subsidy removal, which has affected every sector of the economy. Speaking at a flag-off held at the Lagos House, Alausa Ikeja, Sanwo-Olu said the distribution will be done in phases to be handled by a special committee set up for effective distribution. He also urged private sector to support government's efforts in reaching large number of residents. With the move, over 2,500 micro, small and medium enterprises involved in bag manufacturing, food aggregation, packaging and logistics, while over 25,000 employees of the MSMEs will be impacted. There are two methodologies used in the distribution, which include bulk food items, which include 50 kg of rice, 50 kg of gari, and 100 kg of beans for groups, and food boxes for individual vulnerable households. As a way of combating the rising public health concerns associated with excessive sugar consumption, the Federal Ministry of Health has expressed commitment to increase the tax on sugar-sweetened beverages from the current rate of 10% to 20%. The aim of the increase in tax is to promote healthy beverage choices, reduce the intake of processed sugars, soft drinks, and contribute to a healthier future for citizens and generations to come. Dr. Chukwuma Anyaike, the Director of Health Public Health Department at Federal Ministry of Health, disclosed this at the Pro-Health Tax Policy campaign held at the Federal Ministries of Finance and Health respectively in Abuja. According to Mr. Anyaike, non-communicable diseases continue to remain the leading cause of death in sub-Saharan Africa, and the World Health Organization Assembly has endorsed a package of 16 evidence-based interventions focusing on addressing non-communicable diseases risk factors. Currently, the Nigerian government collects 10 naira tax per litre, which was instituted via the Finance Act. However, WHO recommends at least 20% tax to ensure that this taxation is passed to the consumers to discourage consumption and forcing people to alternative, which is basically water and fruits, Anyake stated. And that's it on Business News.
Welcome back. It's time now for Corporate Talk. On the show today, our discussion will be centered on taxation strategies in Lagos State. And joining me in this discussion is Mr. Tokunbo Akonde, Special Advisor to the Executive Chairman of Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Now, can you give an overview of the legal framework of stamp duties in Nigeria?
Yeah, that's interesting because it's one of the oldest laws that we have. It's a 1939 law. Yes, it's been reenacted in 2004, and then over time we've used also Finance Act to bring it to reality, the current realities that we have in the marketplace. So stamp duty essentially is based on, like I said, on that 1939 law, which sort of maybe imposes a responsibility on those people that are engaged in certain kind of transactions to sort of certify the document that explains the transaction. So if I buy something from you, you give me a receipt. That receipt is what tells the story between our transaction. So that receipt, for it to be admissible as an evidence in court, if any one of us has dispute, it must be stamped. Now, imagine 1939. None of us was born then. But the most widespread agency of government as of that time will probably be Post and Telegraph. You don't know, P&T. You wouldn't know. I met P&T anyway. They call it P&T. Virtually every village in Nigeria, you have a P&T, the post office, the man that carries the bag and what have you. So to denote, as of that time, what was used was just the postal stamp. But don't forget, it is not for you for courier service. It is a stamp to show that this document certifies the underlying transaction that has taken place between two entities. It could be corporate entities, it could be corporate and individual, it could be between two individuals. So that is the framework for stamp duty. Actually, it's just to certify the documents for the underlying transaction and to make those documents admissible as evidence should in case there's dispute and you want to go to court.
All right. To what extent are people actually aware of the mandatory nature of stamp duties?
Now, for those people are not as aware as they should be until the issue of this, the 50 naira issue after 10,000 transaction came up. But that is why JTB, along with, JTB is the body of all IRSs and FRS and even the customs and what have you, immigration are all there, has been in the vanguard of this publicity around stamp duty generally. FRS has done considerably well in that area as well. LRS has done a lot as well because we've done some town halls, very few, and then we have done a lot of public notices, guidance notes, and then we've had engagement with the professional bodies as well. However, the thing is that it has not really gone down the way it should go down because it is only those people who think that they have done some transactions that are heavy enough that they want some level of comfort. Because the law actually imposes a responsibility on you that once you have transaction between two entities, those things should be stamped. Even you'll be surprised that all the things that you have stamp on it, but you are not aware. Even your check leaf,
okay,
there's a stamp on it. There's a small stamp on it. It's there. And that's the way it is, that because that check leaf it's something that will be admissible in court. So if you have any transaction whatsoever above a certain level of expenses, really it is your responsibility to ensure that the document denoting that transaction is stamped, because the law says you should do it. If your power of attorney, you have to do it, you have to stamp it. If you don't stamp it, it is just ordinary paper, as the chairman would say.
How has stamp duties contributed to the revenue generation in Lagos State?
Yeah, it is huge. It is not as much as we would want. You understand? So the cup is half full, not half empty. And in the past couple of years, I think it's in excess of 5 billion that we have generated from there. Then don't forget also, there's the one that has been controversial, the issue of the 50 naira stamp on the transactions between in the banking transactions and what have you. And we've used the Financial Act, the FA, to also clarify some of the issues surrounding it, because you have some agencies of government that have no business in the fiscal space. You are not in the revenue business, wanting to, because they misinterpreted the issue that we call it stamp duty. They assume that it is the postal stamp. It has nothing to do with postal stamp. It is a revenue stamp.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Yes.
Now, what is LRS doing in terms of collaborating with other agencies to ensure that there's efficient collection of stamp duty?
Good. Like I said, we have a kind of symbiotic partnership with the Lands Bureau, with MVAA. Now we have the Registrar General of the courts in Lagos. Those are the kind of partnership we have to ensure that these things are done seamlessly. Like I said, we keep desks in all these places. Now, our stamp duty operations have now gone digital. Wow. We have moved away from manual to automatic, from automatic to electronic. So it's, and that's what we have done in Lagos. And I don't know of any other revenue agency in Nigeria that has done that. Maybe possibly, maybe FRS, I don't know. But we have done that. So it can be done electronically, and that's the way we have moved, and we are moving. And also, we are likely to be introducing soon, under the auspices of the JTB, revenue stamps for all wholesalers and maybe distributors, so that when they sell their goods to people or provide services and they are issuing receipts to them, and the threshold over the threshold of 10,000 naira, then you can put a stamp on it and sign across it. I remember doing this as a young boy in the 70s, so I know that. I remember that when we issue receipts for people who have rented up, we use a 2-kobo stamp in those days. You put it and then you sign across it. But now we are going to have those revenue stamps, and eventually we'll do some. Of course, we come back here to do a lot of engagement as well. So that
would be nice. Well, thanks for all you have said so far, Mr. Konde, but right now we need to go on a quick break.
Thank you.
We're going on a short break now. We'll be right back.
I will make a start shortlist business. They give them 150K to my friends. Let's do this. Taxes? I didn't even think about this. So I'll have to pay tax to build a house in Lagos. Maybe I should take a remote job. That way, I can avoid taxes. But wait, bloggers and content creators pay taxes too. So tax officials in Lagos monitor digital space for tax payment. Wait, why don't I start importing and exporting of phones and gadgets? Bro, how far now?
Femo, how far?
Bro, I won't join the business where they do.
Oh, small. You just need money. I hope you have your tax clearance certificate.
Tax? Are you kidding me?
Without it, shishi, you know fit do. You have to visit the nearest tax office.
I can't believe it. There's no way out of this. I have to face my tax obligations if I want to start a life in Lagos.
Dear Lagosians, your taxes enable the government to invest in education, healthcare, security, housing, and many more. By continuing to pay your taxes, You are investing in a brighter future for all. This message is brought to you by the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, LIRS.
It's still the Tax Talk, and on Corporate Talk, we have been discussing on taxation strategies in Lagos State with Mr. Tokunbo Akande, Special Advisor to the Executive Chairman of LRS. How do you assess taxpayers to pay the stamp duties?
We have a commissioner for stamp duty. We have offices across the states as well. We have even expanded the number of offices we have so that to make it more accessible to our people. So all those, when they bring, even if you want to file proceedings in court, we have desks in all the courts in Lagos. Do you understand? So that all those things that they file, the documents need to be stamped. When they get stamped, our officers are there to confirm that the documents are actually genuine. They were the ones that were referred to our commissioner for stamp duty, because we have records of all those documents that have passed through us. So it is when that commissioner now confirms that it is the genuine one that has passed through him, then the court can now admit it. So that's part of the functions imposed on other agencies of government as well, to ensure that any documents people are bringing to you, for you to certify it, to be sure that it is genuine, you need to ascertain that it has been properly stamped. If you borrow money from bank and what have you, you need to get the agreement stamped. If you rent a property, the rental agreement, you need to get it stamped, because if you don't stamp it, then you can't, if you go to court, it's just, the court won't admit it. So these are the things that people need to know and understand why it is important to actually have their documents stamped.
On a final note, how can taxpayers maintain a healthy financial standing?
Good. Now, like I said, you have a constitutional and statutory obligation as a resident in Lagos to file and pay your tax. And the easiest way to do that is that you do occasional self-assessment yourself, and then you pay what is due. You can also, which is advisable, that you take advantage of all the facilities that we have, the LRS as an agency has put in place. We have the e-tax. It's an end-to-end tax admin solution. It will ease your compliance. You can do it from the comfort of your home. You don't have to see. And then if you have challenges, we have our call centers which you can, and they will handhold you and put you through the process. You understand? So, of course, you take advantage of all the enlightenment programs that we're having as well, with all this engagement that we have. Listen to them, and if there are other areas, let us have feedback from you so that we can give proper clarification. You see, once what you know, you have solved almost half of the problem. But if people don't know, then it looks like it's a big thing to them. Tax is as simple as 1, 2, 3. And that's the honest truth, because it is strictly based on law and it's based on evidence, that is documentary, statistical, mathematical evidence that you can see. It's numbers that anybody who likes numbers can easily work with. So they can be in good standing by trying as much as possible to be upfront with the truth about their financial and economic transactions. Once you disclose, then it becomes easier for you, for everybody. And that's what we want. And I believe we would rather have people voluntarily comply than having to do enforcement on them. And that's the way we are.
Wow, that's great. Thanks for coming on the show today. It's been great all the way.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
It's certainly my pleasure too as well. We have come to the end of this discussion with Mr. Tokunbo Akande, Special Advisor to the Executive Chairman of the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. Don't go anywhere. The Tax Talk continues.
I will make a start shortlist business. They give them 150K to my friends. Let's do this. Taxes? I didn't even think about this. So I'll have to pay tax to build a house in Lagos. Maybe I should take a remote job. That way, I can avoid taxes. But wait, though, bloggers and content creators pay taxes too. So tax officials in Lagos monitor digital space for tax payment. Wait, why don't I start importing and exporting of phones and gadgets? Bro, how far now?
Femo, how far?
Bro, I won't join the business where they do.
Oh, smart. You just need money. I hope you have your tax clearance certificate.
Tax? Are you kidding me?
Without it, shishi, you no fit do. You have to visit the nearest tax office.
I can't believe it. There's no way out of this. I have to face my tax obligations if I want to start a life in Lagos.
Dear Lagosians, your taxes enable the government to invest in education, healthcare, security, housing, and many more. By continuing to pay your taxes, you are investing in a brighter future for all. This message is brought to you by the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, LIRS.
Now, contrary to the general notion that there is poor use of taxpayers' money in the development of infrastructure across the states of Nigeria, Lagos State is changing the narrative with its recent projects across the state paid for by the taxpayers' money. Let's find out in Tax Did It.
And you can see everything is synchronized, it's been timed. The amount of seconds or minutes going to stay on each station is known. It's not more than 90 seconds from Lamata's time schedule. They started from 9 o'clock till 12 o'clock, right? And they will, because it's off peak, they'll wait again till 4 o'clock in the evening and they'll run the operations again till 7 or 8 o'clock. It was smooth ride. I conducted everybody well on the train as the head station controller on this inaugural ride, and we advise people, not to forget their personal belongings on any, on the train when they are disembarking at their various train stations, and also to ensure that when they are disembarking, that they watch the gap, right, and they also ensure that they tap out. There are men of Nigerian police there. There are neighborhood watch, and they also have their own private security operatives that are on there. And it's clean. The stations are clean, and we're good to go. With your carry card, we're good to go.
Don't suffer in Nigeria. If you're not in Lagos, you don't sorry.
You have been watching the Tax Talk. All right, this is about that time when Nigerians get to win lots of prizes on the show by testing their knowledge on the subject matter of taxes. Our man is on the street with a very simple question.
Hi guys, my name is Jasmine. This is Tax Your Brain on the Tax Talk. Today we're asking a trivia question on the streets of Lagos. Let's see who knows the answers. Come on.
I don't know. Consumption tax and personal income tax.
I think it's a consumption tax and personal tax, kind of. Consumption tax. The second one is, I don't know the second one.
Personal tax and consumption tax.
And that's it on Tax Your Brain. I hope you guys had so much fun because I had so much fun. My name is Jasmine. Don't go anywhere. The Tax Talk continues.
Welcome back. Please feel free to follow us on all our social media platforms. Our handles are currently on the screen. You have been watching the Tax Talk, and that's our package on the show this week. Join us again next week, same time, same station. My name is Oinlola Sally. Bye for now.